welcome back to my channel. We are just gonna have a cozy sit down chat today. I asked you guys to send in some questions via Instagram and you guys sent in some great ones. Everything revolving around new mom life, living in the countryside, living abroad, living on the homestead, postpartum. So I'm just gonna swift through all of these and answer the questions as I go along. Baby is napping right now. I have the fireplace going. I've got my coffee. Make sure that you grab yourself a cup of tea, get cozy, a blanket. Are you having breakfast? Are you winding down for the evening? Whatever you're doing, I hope you are feeling well. And let's get into the questions. I love when you guys tag me in your Instagram stories and I get to see your setup of how you're watching my video. It's just always the best because you guys make it such a comfy situation and you're either like eating your breakfast or you're having your tea or you're watching it with your dogs or your kids or whatever. It's just so cute to see because it lets me imagine your guys' situation when you're watching the video. This is a Q&A though one, so you could just like put this on while you're taking a walk or driving in the car because it's just gonna be chatty. You don't need to necessarily visually watch this one to get what you can out of it. Personally, I love watching YouTube when I'm doing the dishes. Before I get into the questions, please take a moment to make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and that you have notifications turned on, set to always, so that you never miss a new video from me. And also, if you are enjoying what I'm creating, please give this video a thumbs up. It just lets me know that you're liking my stuff. Let's start with a postpartum question first. The first question is, how do you stay organized while freshly postpartum, new mom here, and trying to find my flow? The word acceptance has been a big word for me during postpartum. Accepting the flow of every day, every moment being completely different. There are days where I feel like I've got this all figured out. Today worked out just fine. It flowed perfectly. And then the next day I will be like, what is going on? And this could change from moment to moment. One minute I'm like, wow, this is great. Everything's working out perfectly. And then the next moment I'm like, what do we do? What's the situation here? So it's about accepting that ever-changing and ever-evolving baby because she's changing all the time, week by week, day to day. Maybe one day her naps will look like this and then the next they won't, and just accepting the flow of it all. And when you say, how do I stay organized? I'm really into maximizing nap time right now. Mind you, there are times where during nap time I just need to sit there. But I'm starting to get a little bit out of that phase right now. Right now I'm kind of in a phase of like, I'm maximizing her nap time. So when she goes down for a nap, I'm like, what area of the house can I organize? That's just what I'm in right now. And that changes. And I think for everybody, depending on kind of your energy levels, because during postpartum, energy levels change. Sometimes we just need more rest. And it's about listening to our bodies and knowing when that is and not pushing it because you're doing so much as a new mom. You have done so much as a new mom already and you have so much more to do. And I think that just allowing ourselves to take a step back, take a breather when we need it, but then also when we're feeling like, okay, she's down for a nap, I'm going to clean this drawer, or I'm going to organize my calendar for the week or for the month, or I'm going to tie up these loose ends in my email inbox. Whatever it might be, just let yourself go with the flow of whatever it is because the flow will be ever changing. A lot of questions about my daily routine as a new mama. I just filmed a vlog yesterday of what our routine looked like yesterday. But again, like I said from the previous question, things change all the time. So honestly, every day looks different over here. I'm pretty sure that vlog just went up. It should be the video right before this one. So I will link it here in the cards and also in the description box. The next question is, how far do you live from a town or a major airport? Do you like rural life still? We are in the countryside, rural life, but we live about 15 to 20 minutes from a town. So we can go into town whenever we need to. We try to batch trips to town because we don't really want to be going into town every day, but we definitely have things in town like swimming lessons for Eliana, a movie theater, restaurants, grocery stores, kind of really anything you need, like dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, anything you need in town not far away at all. To be honest, it feels really close because I'm from LA, and when you wanted to get around in LA for any of those like basic errands that need to be done, it took longer than 20 minutes because of LA traffic. So whenever I would leave the house in LA, I would give myself like a good 45 minutes to an hour to get somewhere, especially in the city proper, or if I'm switching cities. If I'm switching sides of the cities, like west from east in LA, you need like an hour and a half at least to get to a destination, really depending on what time of day it is, but I really think any time of day you need an hour and a half just in case, because you never know with LA traffic. So that said, driving 15, 20 minutes to town for me is nothing, and because the majority of the drive, almost all of it, is countryside, it's such a beautiful drive. The only type of traffic we get around here is a herd of sheep or a herd of cows in the road. Now that's going to town. To get to a major airport, we go to Wellington, which is the capital of New Zealand. We live in the Wellington region. Wellington is a very cute city. I love it. It reminds me of San Francisco, but smaller and a bit cleaner and like more organized, I guess you could say. Very windy and a bay city, and the architecture is a lot like San Francisco. It's a really creative city, and it has a lot of great restaurants, and I love the shopping there. Lots of really great like thrift stores. It's a really cool city. And there's an airport there, and it takes us probably about an hour and a half to get to Wellington. We don't go often, but an hour and a half to get to a major airport doesn't feel like a lot for us. Like I said, we're from Los Angeles, and when I lived in Silver Lake, it took me an hour and a half to get to the airport as well, so it's not that different. The next question is about postpartum and body changes. She just asked body changes after birth and 6 months postpartum, and I really like this question because it's been top of mind for me. I actually made a TikTok yesterday about how my midwife never weighed me my entire pregnancy, and I don't know if that's a regular New Zealand practice or if it's just because my midwife practices this, but I think it's awesome, and I really do think that it helped with my mindset and my confidence through pregnancy and through postpartum. It's just been really good for my mental health to not know how much I gained. I know that it's very regular practice in America. I mean, every time I go to a doctor's appointment, the first thing they do is weigh you. Like, that's what everyone in America does. Like, you get weighed immediately as you walk in to a doctor's appointment. So when I went to see my midwife, I thought we were going to, jump on the scale because it's just such a normal practice from what I'm used to. And she said, "Oh, I don't weigh during pregnancy because obviously I'm growing a human being. I should be gaining weight." She did all the other checks to make sure baby was growing well and was okay. Like, she would check my belly to see along the way how it was measuring and how my belly was growing. I also did scans to check on baby and her well-being, but getting on a scale and knowing how much I gained during my pregnancy was just not necessary. And honestly, it was really great for my mental health. So because she never weighed me, I really liked that. And so I just decided to never weigh myself either. So I didn't weigh myself during pregnancy, and I haven't weighed myself in postpartum. And I'm really happy with that. So I don't know, maybe something to consider if you are pregnant and you don't really want to know if you've gained weight. And I think at the end of the day, realizing that gaining weight when you're growing an entire human being is good and normal. And I think that every single body is different. I know a lot of people have told me that their doctor said, "Oh, you gained too much weight," or "You're gaining too much weight." And of course, I'm not a doctor, so this is just my opinion, but I think every body is different, and every woman is going to gain a different amount of weight when growing a human being. And I really don't think that there's a one size fit all for how much each individual will gain and how their body and their hormones will react when creating a human being. So I know that if I have another pregnancy, I will do the same thing. I don't want to know how much I gained during pregnancy and how much I've gained or lost or whatnot for postpartum. I just think that there's so many other more important things to pay attention to when you're bringing new life into the world, that knowing how much we gained or didn't gain or lost or whatever is just not something that we need to be focused on. This next question is color of E's eyes. Are they changing? First off, I love calling her E. I think it's so cute. I love first names that start with E, and that's why I've got my little E here, obviously for Eliana. And I feel like Eliana has so many great little nicknames, like Ellie, Anna, Lily. It's endless, but I love calling her E. That said, that was just a little side note. I am excited that you asked this question because I don't show her face online, and sometimes I'm like, I wish I felt more comfortable showing her face online because dang, she is cute. And the thing is that everybody thinks that their baby is the cutest in the world. So obviously I think she's cute. But I went to my hair appointment the other day and I was like, my hairdresser was like, she's so cute. Like, you need to put her in like a baby modeling situation or whatever. And I was like, is she as cute as I think she is because she's my baby? I just think she's so adorable. And she's like, no, it's not just because. She's like, I don't tell people, like, she's flippin' cute, guys. Okay, just trust me. She's so flippin' cute. But one really interesting thing about her eyes is that they're blue. They are bright crystal sea blue. And if you take a look at my eyeballs, they are brown as can be. Well, they're like a light brown, but Alex calls them cappuccino. But they are brown. Alex's eyes are green, and she's just got these crystal blue bright eyes. I mean, when people see her immediately, they're like, her eyes. Both of the grandpas have blue eyes. So my dad has blue eyes and Alex's dad has blue eyes. I will say that her eyes are like really crystal sea blue, so neither one of their eyes look like that. They both have like light blue eyes. Her eyes are like crystal bright, like emerald blue. And so they could change. She's only 6 months right now. I don't think that they're going to change colors. If anything, they might turn more green. But for the most part, I even asked my midwife at the beginning, I was like, do you think she's gonna, like, her eyes are gonna change? Because a lot of the times when babies are born, they have like a blue tone to their eyes and then it starts to change. The general consensus is that she's going to have bright blue eyes, which is just so beautiful. I am going to take a moment to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is ZocDoc. This one is for my viewers in America. I know personally how hard it can be to find a doctor that you love, especially when you are using one of those insurance directories. Personally, I have had some of the most painful experiences trying to use platforms like that. How many of you have put off appointments because of finding a doctor is such a frustrating experience, especially if it's a specialist? ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high quality in-network doctors. You can choose the right one for your needs and then click to book an appointment instantly. These are in-network appointments with over 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty. From mental health to dental care to eye care, skin care, and more. We spend and will be spending more time in America, so when I'm over there and we need to go to a doctor's appointment, I will be using this. You can filter through doctors who take your insurance and who are located nearby. You can also see how they rate. You can see their actual openings and look for a time that works best for you, and then you can book instantly. It's so nice that you don't have to call and like be on hold and talk to a person to find a time that works, because that is the worst. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, usually within the first 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even get same day appointments. So you can go to ZocDoc.com/carryrad, also linked in my description box, to find and book a doctor today. This next question is, who looks after Lanka when you're away? Is it hard to find someone? This is a living abroad question, travel question, and we go back to the US quite regularly and stay there for long, extended periods of time to be with family. This question is very valid, and we get house sitters. So we normally find house sitters to stay here at the house with Lanka to look after Lanka and animals on the homestead, so the sheep and the chickens. This next question is, how are you finding breastfeeding? Have you had any struggles? Personally, I love breastfeeding right now, and I have loved it over the last 6 months. But within the first couple of weeks of Eliana's life, it was a bit of a struggle for me, and I had to just keep trying and keep pushing past and kind of trusting myself and trusting her and trying to figure out how to find the flow of it all. Within the first couple of days, they told me that Eliana's weight had declined quite a bit. Like, she lost more weight than they like, because it's quite normal for babies to lose weight within the first couple of days, the first week of life. Why we think she lost as much weight as she did was because I was on a lot of fluids. And so she had a lot of fluid when she first was born. She was quite poofy because my water broke before having contractions. So they had to give me some antibiotics to make sure that I didn't get an infection. We had tons of fluid. When she was born, obviously we didn't have IV in me anymore, and she had a lot of fluid because I had a lot of fluid. So once that fluid kind of came out of her, then they saw a big decrease in her weight. And that's what my midwife told me. She was like, really confident that you're going to be okay, because what we did was we hand expressed, and I had a lot of colostrum because that's what you have at the very beginning of breastfeeding. And we were actually giving Eliana the extra colostrum that we were hand expressing or just regular pumping. I was giving her all of that within the first week. And then by day 3 or 4 of Eliana's life, my boobs actually started to feel very full of breast milk. I was really worried right after Eliana came out because I didn't get that like initial big boob, there's milk in there, here we go feeling. That came on like day 3 or 4. And then once that came, then we started breastfeeding, we started getting in the flow of it. I did have some pain latching at first, but I just kept going. I like bit my tongue, bit my lip, and just like pushed through it. And then we finally started to get into the flow of it. It did hurt at first, but then all of a sudden, one day it stopped hurting. And now I have loved, like honestly, I love breastfeeding so much. I love having that connection with her. I love that my body is doing that. I think it's so fascinating that our bodies can create milk. So when I'm pumping and I put it into like the breast milk pouches, I'm still so fascinated by the whole experience. So I feel like very enriched by it, and I just feel a lot of contentment with it. And I love nursing her. It's honestly like the only way she can fall asleep these days with me. Alex has his own way of putting her down for a nap, like a lot of like just like rocking and stuff. But for me, it's just like put her on the boob and she falls asleep. So that's kind of like been what we do, and I love it. This next question is, how do you find your personal style? I actually just started an Instagram reel series called Finding My Style as a New Mom, and I just put different outfits together, and I talk in those reels about why I decided on this outfit and things like that. So if you're interested in checking that out, definitely go to my Instagram. I'm really loving this chapter of style. At first, obviously, like freshly postpartum, I wasn't really thinking about that. I just like sized up in everything, and I was like, okay, this is where I want to be. I just want to size up, and I want comfortable clothes. But I've really started curating staples. So jeans that I absolutely love, that I know if I throw on these jeans and I throw on a t-shirt that fits me, that I love like the style of, I will feel good in. So it was sort of about going back to the basics for me and finding basics that I absolutely loved, and then expanding from there, then going into like a blouse and being like, I know I love this blouse and I can wear this blouse in lots of different ways, like something like this, where I'm like, this is so comfortable to me, and it is a color I love, it is a shape I really love, and I know that if I throw this on, I will feel put together, and I don't really need to think much about it. And I can still nurse in this if I unbutton it or go from the top. I love t-shirts for nursing in. And I just have been getting all of my clothes 1 or 2 sizes up depending on the fit and like the style of the garment, But for me lately, I'm just like, I want things to be comfortable. I want them to be cute. I want to feel good in them. Comfort has always been the key for me in style, because if you are comfortable, you're going to look comfortable, and then that's gonna make you look put together, because when you're comfortable, you're confident. And so for me, comfort is key. How or where is Eliana sleeping at the moment? I'm from Sweden and I have a 6-month-old baby girl born in March, and she is still sleeping in our bedroom but in her crib. She's still waking up a lot in the night in need of comfort. To share a bedroom up until the first year is the most common here. Safe co-sleeping from 3 to 4 months is also pretty common here. I feel like in the US it seems like all babies are sleeping in their nursery from an early age. I am in awe of people that are getting their babies to sleep in a different room without having to run between rooms in the night, but maybe she would actually sleep better without being disturbed from our tossing and turning. I don't know. What is working for you at the moment? Differences between the US and New Zealand in recommendations. I love this question because we're pretty much in the same boat here. And so I wish you and I could just like chat together right now, but I'll give you my part, and we relate a lot in this scenario. Eliana's still in our bedroom. She is in like a little bassinet pack and play situation next to our bed because she grew out of the newborn bassinet that we had. And when we were in the States, actually, we started putting her in a pack and play because we obviously didn't bring the bassinet with us to the US. And then we were using the pack and play, and she was about 4 months, and I knew when we got back that she wasn't going to fit into the bassinet anymore. So I started thinking like, okay, well, I'm not ready for, neither one of us were ready for her to go into the nursery. I talked to Alex about it, and he's just like, no, I still want her in our bedroom. I felt the same way. So we were both like, okay. I realized, all right, I will get a pack and play for us to bring back to New Zealand. And so I did that. I bought a pack and play in the US. I brought it over to New Zealand so that we had something like the moment that we got home, because she was going to need to sleep in something when we arrived, and she had already outgrown the bassinet that we had before we traveled to the US because we were there for 2 months. We left when she was about 3 months and came back when she was about 5 months. That said, we've been using that. And so she sleeps in our bedroom. She sleeps on my side of the bed right next to me. I love being able to hear her cues. I still watch her on the Nanit, like we use the monitor, and so I pull up my phone and look at it to see what position she's in the dark of the bedroom, of course. And we also use the Owlet sock. So I use the monitor and the sock. I just got the sock primarily because Eliana loves sleeping on her tummy, and I was having a lot of issues with like wanting to roll her over onto her back. I know that a lot of people say tummy sleeping is fine, and some people say we'll move them back to their back depending on like, I just make sure that her nose and mouth are exposed, and if they're not, then I move her. But I really love now, I've had the Owlet for like a week, and I've been really loving it because I can like check her vitals, like her oxygen level and her heart rate, and it will give me an alert if anything is not normal. So I'll link any of these things that I'm talking about in the description box for you guys if you're interested in them. Obviously, none of these things are necessary, but I just love them because it gives me peace of mind. And I bought them like over time. Like for instance, I just got the Owlet because I was like, okay, if I start moving her to her bedroom when we're ready to do that, which I feel like will probably be closer to a year old, then I'll have the Owlet so that I can have that on her, and it'll give me more peace of mind if she's not in the bedroom. But that said, I mean, I bring her into the bed in the like wee hours of the morning, anytime after like 4 a.m. and I have the Owlet sock on her. She wakes up at 4 a.m. right now and wants to be with me. And so a lot of the times, like I'll just nurse her and sit up. I'm pretty much like just awake with her, and you know, we do all sorts of different things, if I'm honest. Like she'll be in the bassinet most of the night, and I feel the most comfortable with her in the bassinet, but then there's times where like I actually feel more comfortable with her sleeping on her back right next to me in a safe co-sleeping situation. And so That would be only in like the wee hours of the morning, like really early in the morning where I'm awake. But there are so many different ways to go about it, and it really just depends on what you are comfortable with and what is the safest for your baby. And every baby is going to be different, but I just really liked this question because I feel like our scenario is so similar, because I don't want to put her in a nursery because I'm also waking up with baby. In the newborn stage, she was sleeping really well. Like by 2 months old, she was sleeping through the night. I wasn't, because I would check on her, but she gave me a lot of rest at like the end stage of the newborn section, which was really nice. And then now she is waking up a little bit more, probably like 2 to 3 times a night. And it's normally really easy to get her to go back, except for, like I mentioned, after 4 a.m. That time of the morning, it's harder to get her to go back to sleep in her crib. So that's where we're currently at. We're traveling again in November for about a month or so. So she'll still be in the pack and play doing that. When we get back, I'll probably still have her in the pack and play, if I'm guessing, till about she's 1 year old. When she's 1, I might move her into the nursery. She's got a beautiful crib and great nursery in there, and she takes her day naps in there, and she loves that crib, but we're just not ready for her to not be in there. And I think you're right. For me, like where I really related to this comment was like, it's easier to just like have her next to me to feed her through the night than like running over to another room. So it's just convenient for us, but every family is different and every country does things differently. Every single baby does things differently. Do you have the wild bird carrier and do you like it? I love my wild bird carrier. Alex loves our wild bird carrier. It has been our #1 carrier throughout our entire parenthood process so far. We put her in it when she was 8 pounds. She was born at like 7 pounds. I think they say to wait till they're 8 pounds. So as soon as she was 8 pounds, we put her in and she has loved it ever since. She is a carrier queen. She loves being in the carrier. If she's in the carrier, she's content. She'll fall asleep in the carrier. She goes on walks in the carrier. The stroller, it's not her favorite thing. She will stroll. And there are times where she decides she no longer wants to be strolling. So sometimes if you have the stroller and you're alone, I always have my wild bird carrier at the bottom in the little storage basket of our stroller, because there might be a moment where she says, never mind, I don't want to be in the stroller anymore. And you need to put her in the carrier and bring the stroller back to the car or home, wherever. The carrier is likely our #1 most used baby product. I love that it's linen, it's light, it's just so cute, it's wonderful, it's the best. I got a color that both Alex and I can wear. He loves wearing the carrier too. It's such a great connection having baby right there so close by, and there's so much you can get done in the house and when you're out and about, just putting her in the carrier doing errands. I love it. She's 6 months now. She's getting bigger. Still love it. Still use it. Will be using it for as long as we possibly can. Again, I'll link a wild bird carrier for you guys as well in the description box, but I could not recommend more. How to deal with being far from friends and family, something I struggle with being pregnant. And then I have another one right next to it that says, curious about being away from your mom, especially nowadays as a new mom. I got this question a lot about living abroad, and people are always curious about this, even when I meet them in person. Living in New Zealand is very far away from the US. Some details about it. Alex's father was born and raised in New Zealand, and his family actually has a batch, is what they call it here in New Zealand, which is like a cabin, like a holiday home. And so they come here quite regularly because Alex has a lot of family here. And like I said, his father was born and raised here. But our immediate families, like mom, dad, siblings, are not in New Zealand. I'm very close to my mom, and if you watch my channel regularly and know me, you know that my mom and I are really close, and I FaceTime with my mom pretty much every day. It's really regular. If not every day, it's like every other day. And she came to New Zealand when I was pregnant for Christmas. Eliana was born in February, and then she came again a couple of weeks after Eliana was born. We went back to the States for the summer in the US, which was winter here, and we were there for 2 months. And then we're going back again in November. We're going for Halloween and for Thanksgiving, and then we will come back to New Zealand for Christmas. I'll say this, my mom and I were just talking about this the other day. We feel like we see each other now more, like quality time, than we did when she lived in Nevada and I lived in California. We both work. My mom is a teacher, and so my mom has a busy schedule, and I work from home obviously, but I also have a busy schedule with baby and all that kind of stuff. And so we were saying that when we are together, like when my mom comes and visits me for a couple of weeks and she takes off work, or I'm there for a couple of months, whatever it might be, we spend a lot of quality time together, and we spend time together in the same house. If we were still living in the States and she is in Nevada and I'm in California like we were, we used to only see each other like for a couple of days on the weekend, like every other month. And so we were kind of talking about how if we averaged everything out, we probably see each other more quality time and just like more time in general now, which is kind of crazy to think about, because I think that we took advantage of the fact that we were in the same country before. I've also always been a traveler, and so I was always like someplace else at some point in my life before Eliana, and even now, like obviously we travel with her quite regularly because we live abroad, and so that makes it so we're traveling quite regularly. I'm married to somebody who works in travel, so we just travel as a family, and so going and seeing family regularly, and his family has always been sort of on opposite sides of the world because his father's born and raised in New Zealand. Like they've always been coming like back and forth from the US and New Zealand, so it doesn't feel like a big thing, if that makes any sense. And of course I would love to be closer to family, specifically my mom, especially in this new mom era of life. I do think that we like have a lot of conversations that maybe we wouldn't have had on FaceTime. I relate it to when Alex and I first started dating. We FaceTimed a lot because he was constantly traveling for work at the beginning of our relationship. And so we really got to know each other through FaceTime, because it was sort of like a conversation. It wasn't necessarily like we were physically together all the time and we could just do stuff around each other. It was just more so like, okay, well, we're on FaceTime, so we're going to talk. And I feel like my mom and I are like that a lot. And of course she FaceTimes now, particularly to talk to Eliana. She used to FaceTime to talk to me, but now she's like, where's the baby? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Do I wish Eliana could be around my mom physically more than she is these days? Yes, of course. But what I've just spoken about is kind of how I rationalize it and how I stay positive about it. And I love living in New Zealand. And a lot of you guys have asked if this is forever, and I don't have the answer to that. What I can say is right now, I am so happy to be here. I'm so grateful to be here. I love living here. I have made a lot of really great friendships here, and I actually feel less isolated living in the countryside here than I did living in the city of LA, because I didn't know my neighbors like I know them here. I didn't see people as often just casually and socially like I do here. There's so many mom groups here, and there are so many people that just like want to talk to you, and we have a better life balance living in New Zealand, like a work-life balance. When I think back to living in LA, I was just working all of the time, and here I'm not working all of the time. I have a work-life balance, and that is because the culture here embraces that, and we've really been thriving in that environment, and because we live on a homestead. So there are so many things that like get us outside that we need to do for the land, for the property. So we're outside doing things a lot more, which then lead us to like talking to people on our road, or like going down to the neighbor's house that we're really good friends with, or just like, it's just so I didn't expect to feel like less isolated in the countryside. I was prepared for that life because I am a homebody. So I was like, listen, I'll be fine. Like, I've always dreamt of living in the countryside. Let's do this. It's a dream. We'll be fine. Then moving out here, we quickly realized, whoa, I'm a lot less isolated than I felt when I was in LA. It's just a different culture in New Zealand, but also in the countryside is even more so of like a small community feel where you just want to know your neighbors and spend time with them because don't have very many of them in the countryside too. And living in LA, we had people right next to us, up, down, side by side, blah, 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 and we didn't know any of them or had never been in any of their houses. So that's just crazy to think about. Okay, so I've been rambling on for quite a bit. I hear baby starting to wake up. Alex is going to go into the nursery right now and get her up, but I'm going to go say hello to her and cuddle as well. She's probably due for some nursing, and I could sit here and talk to you guys all day, but I should probably not keep you for that much longer because I feel like this video is probably very long right now. But this was really nice. I was really wanting to just kind of sit down and chat with you guys, do a little life update. I wish you guys could chat back to me. Sometimes it just feels like I'm just chatting at you, but I guess that's the way that this whole thing works. I hope you are all well. I'm sending you my love, and I will see you very soon in a new video. Thanks for watching. Bye.